the more I studied the history of the United States, the more I came to realize that slavery and racism are at the core of American history. Slavery in the city of New York, it's not plantation slavery, but it also can be very onerous. Not only did enslaved Africans build the infrastructure of the city, they actually changed the physical shape of Manhattan Island, expanding it east with landfill. They're clearing forests, they're building the roads, they're dredging the harbor, they're building the docks. One of the reasons for gradual emancipation is so that the slaveholders can work the enslaved Africans for the next 25 years, getting free labor from them. Essentially, gradual emancipation was a way of compensating slaveholders for the loss of their enslaved African property. However, enslaved Africans in New York were never compensated for hundreds of years of unpaid labor. A lot of the wealth that makes possible the growth and development of New York City in the 19th century is because of its complicity with slavery. Because of its location on the Gulf Stream, New York is the best port of call for the sale and the distribution of slave-produced commodities. Cotton from the South is put on coastal vessels and shipped to the port of New York. Sugar from the Caribbean is put on coastal vessels and shipped to the port of New York. Profits from sugar production, profits from cotton production become the basis for the creation of Pennsylvania Railroad, the Long Island Railroad, AT&T. The main bank involved becomes the bank that becomes Citibank. While slavery ends, the racism of slavery continues. And that's what we see really continuing in the United States to this very day. During the New Deal, programs are created to help working people who have been badly injured by the Great Depression. Those programs often exclude African Americans. It carries over after World War II with the GI Bill. It guarantees veterans that they will have mortgage insurance, but they still must apply for the mortgages through local banks. Well, in the New York region, African Americans can't get mortgages to buy homes in many of these expanding suburbs. So what you created were virtually all white communities. In Manhattan, there is a program called Urban Renewal in the 50s and 60s, and it's a federal program. The African-American author James Baldwin, he's cynically called Urban Renewal Negro removal. And unfortunately, it continues to today. In communities in Brooklyn, in communities in Harlem where you have gentrification, African Americans and now Latinos are being forced out of their own communities. So what you have is systematic racism creating the modern city. Education in the state of New York and in New York City, we see the shadow of slavery and the shadow of racism continuing to impact on people's lives. We have a problem in the United States today that more young black men are involved in the criminal justice system than get to go to college. So what we get is an educational system that holds people back, and then adding to that, people never catch up. It's like the gap becomes deeper and deeper financially the older they grow. That's why it's crucial that we understand the history of slavery, why we understand the history of racism, because it undermines our ability to deal with social inequality today.